Hi, I'm Kathleen. I'm a third year law student. I'm a retired teacher and I'm an LSAT tutor. I help students, especially those who learn differently, to break down the LSAT into clear, teachable strategies. In today's video, we're going to discuss what I wish I knew before taking the LSAT. Let's dive in. So, I think it's really important that people understand that the LSAT isn't about how smart you are. It's about strategy, focus, and mindset. Here's what I wish someone had told me before I wrote it. So the most important things for success on the LSAT is one, mindset. You need to know this is not about who's the smartest. It's not an IQ test. You need to have a pre-test plan and a strategy to get through the test and to tackle the questions. You need to have organization around both your studying and how you're going to take the test. You need to understand the timing of the test and how much time to spend on each of the questions. And when that plan is in place, you need to learn to follow it through consistent training for it. So, small study sessions over a longer period of time are often more successful when it comes to the LSAT. So one of the biggest mistakes that people make is that they treat the LSAT like a regular test and they study for it regularly. So, this test is not about memorizing anything. It's not about knowing, more in-depth language. It's not about that. It's about learning how to think in a different way. So the fix for that is it's a skills training, not facts. So it's about practicing patterns and reasoning and building habits through repetition that help you to identify in the test what it is that they're looking to assess you on. So it's much different than what you would have learned in your undergrad studies. This test is looking to make sure you're able to think and analyze things in the way that you'll be required to do throughout law school. So the second mistake that people make is ignoring timing until test day. You just think, well, it's just like any other test. I know I have 2 hours or, no big deal. Except that these sections are broken down in a specific way for your success. So having a strategy to approach that is so important. So you want to practice the timing in advance and you want to look at establishing, benchmark practice drills and learning when to skip a question and come back to it. And you really want to treat time as part of the test. The third mistake people make is that they spend a lot of money on expensive prep. And one of the things we misunderstand is that, oh, so and so scored really high, so that must mean that they know how to teach me how to be successful. When in fact, someone who scored super high maybe grew up in a family of attorneys who think this way automatically and can't explain how to learn that way. Just because someone scored high, that does not mean that they know how to teach you how to break that test down and make it approachable in a teachable or a learnable fashion. So, too often we think that just because someone got a super high score means they'll know how to teach us to get a super high score, when in fact, it doesn't always mean they know how they got there. So it's important that rather than, the experience to become good teachers isn't necessarily based on the ability to get a high score. It's based on knowing how you got there. So buying too many resources and becoming, too expensive or too confusing. Often these courses are super overly complicated, overly confusing, or believing that costs equal result, I guess, is another big mistake. So instead, you want to focus on the official LSAT questions and reusing practice tests and using affordable guidelines that offer you structure and tools and accountability and really break it down and make it simple, giving you step-by-step ways to kind of master. There's key things that are going to make a difference. Knowing how to map out questions for reading comprehension, super important. Knowing how to identify the question type for logical reasoning, super important. Those skills need to be broken down into small, digestible pieces, and someone, you really want to become teachable for that. Okay, Miss. The biggest tools and strategies that I think are helpful is the mistake journal. Taking your mistakes and turning them into learning opportunities, huge. Flashcards. Flashcards are about building repetition and building strength over time. It's kind of like if you start off lifting 5 pounds and you repetitively lift that until it becomes 10 pounds and then 15. Your flashcards are like your weights. Practicing with real LSAT questions is so important. Learning your road mapping of a passage, again, super important. Working on those pacing benchmarks. So becoming really good at identifying where you should be for your timing and how long your questions should take you. Developing a good study calendar or planner that fits everything in over a consistent time frame. Knowing how to use your scratch paper or your whiteboard to work through questions and map them out and kind of mind map a question. And having an active review techniques. Biggest lessons learned, the LSAT is a skills test. It's not an IQ test. Improvement comes from practice, review, and strategy over consistent time, not just studying harder. Okay, what I wish I knew. You don't need to do this alone. I've built an affordable LSAT course with strategies, practice, and support, and the link is in the description. And we have more videos here for you on YouTube to help you too. So, if this tip helped you, I'd love for you to join me for more. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next LSAT strategy and check out the free study notes that we offer and resources that we've put together for you. Links are in the description.